Okay, so the Metaverse, Web3, and NFT space, these terms are synonymous with the next wave of technology transformation. Today, we will dive in deeper to understand the space and to speak with the thought leaders on how the industry will grow in the next several years. K11 Konversations, along with Eureka are excited to bring this panel discussion to you, NFT and the artists redefining the distribution of art. K11 Konversations is a multi-platform dialogue series where we discuss the intersections between creativity, culture, and innovation, in line with K11's social mission to incubate talent, propagate culture, and push the new frontier of art. Before we begin, I am Ben Wong, the head of open innovation at Eureka, a new role open innovation program where we create shared value by empowering technology startups to solve real business problems. And with me today, we have the honor to have Hanjin Tan and Charles joining us today. Hanjin is an award-winning music producer and singer-songwriter, winner of Hong Kong Film Award, and the first to drop Chinese music NFT. He is an advocate on how artists can use NFTs to ensure that they get royalties off of their work and enabling fans to be patrons of the artists they are passionate about. Charles Asia Managing Director of ConsenSys, which was in the news as of late with their massive $450 billion raise. Congratulations. Their product suite comprises of Infura, Quorum, Truffle, Ko-Fi, MetaMask, and Diligence, serving millions of users, supporting billions of blockchain-based queries, and has handled billions of dollars in digital assets. Among his responsibilities, Charles leads ConsenSys projects on central bank digital currencies with the HKMA and the Bank of Thailand. Now, into the questions. We're obviously in the midst of a technology transformation with blockchain, NFTs, decentralization, token economics, your so-called Web3. And both of our panelists today are leaders in their own respects. Charles and Hanjin, can you tell us a little bit about your organizations and the inspiration behind them? And maybe we'll kick it off with Hanjin first.
Hi, guys. My name is Hanjin. Thanks for joining us. It's a wonderful time to be involved with the blockchain. I basically just built project after project, NFT collections, NFT applications for artists, graphic artists, musicians, so that they can find new solutions in the Web3 space. Web2 has been really, for lack of a better word, marginalizing creators of what pre-web was viable industries. Because of the massive centralization, these products have become digital assets, native digital assets like music and graphics, and maybe even software and games, such that the value of the products themselves have become some even close to free and some even free, like music. And Web3 is something that can serve these industries far better than charities can do. But it does require a proactive approach from the participants. So what I'm doing is basically showing how it's easier than they think. And the hard part really is to understand the technology and to participate in the marketing. The marketing is largely different. And so I guess what I'm really doing is through my efforts, show that it can be easily made and it can be marketed if you're structured enough, and it can be done in a niche way. So you can start small and grow bigger from there. I'm also involved with Cyberport. I've got my accelerator for Web3 solutions, and mostly NFT targeted, and help them get into the space quickly and easily. And also mentoring a couple of projects and advising on a couple of projects.
Awesome, thank you. And Hanjin, we'll dive a little bit deeper into kind of your programs as well.
Will do.
Why don't we move on to Charles? Charles, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your organization and the inspiration behind it?
Sure, thank you so much, Ben. So I am with ConsenSys. ConsenSys is one of the world's largest blockchain engineering company. We are 5 years old, so we've been in the blockchain space for a very long time. It's a very deep conviction. for many of the employees of ConsenSys, and we are 700 and growing quickly today. That we want to build and help building the Web3, the third generation of internet, which is essentially a new generation of internet powered by blockchain technology. So what we provide to the world is essentially tools for developers all over the world. Today, there is more than 400,000 developers building with ConsenSys products everywhere around the world, building smart contracts, building NFTs, building decentralized finance. But there is also within ConsenSys some services and products which are really part of the metaverse and part of the everyday life of many people in Web3. I'm talking about MetaMask. MetaMask is one of the most popular crypto wallet today. It's a free product you can download for your laptop or for your mobile phone, and essentially it's your gateway to the world of NFTs, your gateway to the world of decentralized finance and Metaverse. More than 30 million users today, so it really shows also the size of this phenomena. And Hong Kong is one of the most active markets within the ConsenSys space. So really participating in this conversation on the technology side of things and sharing what we learned over the past year. So thanks for having me.
No, appreciate you joining us today. And I understand that, Charles, you may have a few slides that you want to share on the organization and your recent news and some of your products.
Absolutely. Let's go very quickly through those and get back to the conversation with Hanjin later on. So essentially, as I was mentioning, ConsenSys is really interacting with three groups of users of the blockchain space: the developers first and foremost, governments and enterprises, as well as end users. We announced a few weeks ago our latest fundraising, Series D, $450 million US. And among the many supporters of the company, there is also C Ventures, which relates with K11. But we had in previous fundraise some other Hong Kong champions joining the ConsenSys family, such as Animoca, which is one of the local and global champion of NFT and Metaverse, as well as HSBC, which is not exactly an NFT champion, but definitely willing to progress with all of us. We can go through some numbers. I guess what I really want to highlight here is the size of the ecosystem. It might be a new topic which we are exploring today on the NFTs, but Web3 is really the birth of this new internet, and there is just massive amount of users and really real businesses being built on this space. So we at ConsenSys cover the full stack from the protocol layer, the blockchain itself, up to the application. And we help with MetaMask and some other product to build a lot of NFTs initiatives from the issuance, the listing, the secondary market, and helping building these marketplaces. We have the chance to be involved for quite some time with the NFT space. So we got the chance to learn with the sport industry how to craft and shape NFTs relevant in the context of sport, but also working with major luxury brands, entertainment industry leaders, as well as art leaders. But that's really to quickly illustrate more about our company and how we can contribute to this conversation.
Awesome, thank you, Charles. And we're throwing a lot of jargon in this kind of space to our audience, but NFTs for non-fungible tokens. I hope that as we kind of go through our conversation, we find some lingo that may need a little bit of defining. We all do so, right? Because we do have a wide array of people who will be watching this panel, and today, we're specifically trying to speak on NFTs. Imagine speaking to someone new to this space, right? How would you explain NFTs and its application? And can you maybe expand a little bit on the value creation that NFTs can bring to this space? Why don't we kick that off with Hanjin?
Okay. Think of it this way. When the real world met the internet, what we got was Web 1, Web 2. Web 1, Web 2 in a nutshell is a copyable marketplace. You send emails, are basically you send out copies. When I send you a copy, I still hold the original. So it cannot be a transfer of value. But Web3 is an internet whereby you can, through the blockchain, transfer things of value. When I send something to you, I no longer hold it. And NFTs are a representation of unique assets. Perhaps a bad way to say it, but not think of it as non-divisible assets, whereby fungible tokens are like divisible assets. So there are different kinds of value, and NFTs are things that, in terms of current applications, they can represent unique digital assets on the internet, like songs, art, like programs, clusters of programs, clusters of a single IP of audio or visual or software or code. And that's the application of NFTs right now. But the thing that's exciting the space is really its IRL applications. IRL meaning in real life. How can you bridge first web NFT applications to Web 2 applications, which is like the stuff that we see on FANGs, internet solutions, big internet companies, and then how you can bridge them to real world stuff, like, you know, maybe buy real estate, maybe transact fine wine, maybe buy your get your university certification through a non-transferable NFT, NFTs. There are specific technologies that could address in the future, perhaps in a more structured way than it is today, a new viable, more automatic, more immediate, more efficient version of the world that we live in today. And that is the thing that's exciting the space, and that is why there are a lot of people coming in on a daily basis, more and more, and in an exponential way. And I see this as a solution for many things that have gone wrong in Web 2. So I am excited about this place because it could change the world for better.
Yeah, great, Hanjin. And if you don't mind, you know, we've had this conversation before, and you know, you've seen a lot of value that it can create, NFTs and its technology to the music industry. Can you maybe expand a little bit about your NFT drop and how you're trying to support the industry as a whole?
Okay. When I saw NFTs, I was like, oh my God, this could make this could help the music industry much more than charities can. Charities have been failing. All they create is eyeballs, and after that, it actually makes things worse because it gives the market an impression that everything is okay when it actually is not. It is super marginalized in the sense that the select few on the top are still making money, while the people at the bottom, the people who are creating the product, say, if you're talking about music industries, the people who make the music, not the singers who sing the music and use the music to make money, but the people who make the music, the creators, are not getting paid because they're there's no other industry that is like this. And music, like Raoul Pal said, like has been saying, is become a free product, and it's free in the sense that everyone believes music is for free. Ask someone to pay for music today, and they'll be like, "Nah, I'll just go on some social media like YouTube, or like I'll just stream it on Spotify. It's free anyway." And that is the problem. So if this carries on in 10 years, you will have a very, very tiny group of people making new music. And maybe in 20 years, you will have no longer any new music. Music will only be made by people who have too much time on their hands. It will no longer be an industry because it's a free good. And what I did was just show musicians that, okay, you don't have to wait for the incumbents to create a structured solution where you have to sign a contract and you agree to a profit share. You can just start small and launch your own NFTs, create your own little niche markets. The numbers can be small as 10, 50, 100. It's not, no longer do you think like, oh, 1,000 fans. No, 1,000 fans is too much. It's actually very, very hard to create 1,000 fans who will buy something from you every quarter.
Right.
Question one is, can you build fast enough? Question two is, will they come back? And but to find 50 fans, 30 fans, supporters who will support your NFTs, that is actually far less scary. So what I did was I did my first drop, which is just a song. And I auctioned it on OpenSea, plain and simple, created something on iMovie, and anyone can do it, sold it for 7 ETH. Second project was to show viability on BSC when BSC was capable of NFTs. And that sold within under a minute for 539 BNBs. So that proved viability, and that proved that people like that it's cheap. And the third drop was when a PFP collection, really small one, just 50 of them, and that sold within an hour for 50 ETH. And that proved that small communities can work. And my next project will be an NFT collection with staking capabilities. And music. Hopefully, I can create a new music market whereby people who are interested in supporting by paying for new music and good creators would actually come off the Spotify wagon and create this new market, and hopefully start small and become something more meaningful in a year or two.
Right. Hanjin, this is really fascinating. And Ben, if I may, is really an excellent illustration on how the technology is essentially grabbed by artists. And even though it's not their original craft, probably being artists, being musicians and composer, they will quickly get the tools to make the best of the technology and reinvent a new way to essentially get a stream of revenues and live a decent life out of their art. So I'm really impressed by the journey of Hanjin, and it's good to see that it's starting in a very humble manner and essentially building step by step. Growing from different, essentially, Hanjin was describing different blockchains and different marketplaces, and starting small and adding a little bit more, and later on having some royalties distribution being reinvented in a very different way than Spotify will be working, or maybe YouTube. So it's really a great illustration of how this new internet is essentially getting a lot of attention, and it's creating a lot of real value and new ways to do this ancient art of music.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you so much.
Absolutely, a lot of value that's being created through that. Charles, from the technology end, you've seen what NFTs can bring to certain industries. But what about some of the challenges that it could face? Call it short or long term, that you might see.
So it's technology, it's innovation. So it's not always exactly polished. The internet in the early days was a little bit slow. There was too much demand, and the internet was just not capable to host everyone at the same time. And then came fiber optic and satellite, and we get more bandwidth. So essentially, usually this type of innovation are a little bit kind of victim of their own success. And you see that sometime in blockchain, where there is essentially too many people wanting to use this kind of blockchain asset. The same way sometimes people will queue to go to a restaurant. Sometimes you have to queue also to use these services online. It's new. There is new user experience to design, but it's definitely very, very impressive to see the pace of growth. So it's really an example of what we call the exponential age, where you start to see innovation which are starting in a very isolated ways, where maybe you've got an artist starting to have a graphical NFT for a few buyers, and then you've got 10 artists, and then you've got a full collections, and then you've got big brands, and suddenly you've got millions of users coming up in a very short period of time. So it's really what we call a hockey stick adoption curve, where it starts slowly and suddenly it goes really, really up to the sky like a rocket. So the challenges are essentially training people on these new business models, helping people like Hanjin is helping some artists in the music industry to understand how an NFT in music makes sense and how it should be done to get attention from the audience, and also getting familiar with the tools. So it's a new experience, but we see how much people, especially here in Hong Kong, are digitally native. So we see the rate of adoption growing very fast. And if we look at the ecosystem here in Hong Kong, we've got people obviously very familiar with mobile phone and all this digital world. We have entrepreneurs like Hanjin. We had the digital art fair a few months ago, which was really kind of showing off all the digital talents here in Hong Kong with a lot of NFTs. And I know K11 is also very active in this space of NFTs, and there is a lot of initiatives. So it's really kind of a blossom season for all this digital art and blockchain space in Hong Kong with the support of many.
Great. And speaking on the value that art and NFT brings to the market, a lot of our audience might hear about these enormous numbers around buying a piece of art or a digital yacht on the sandbox for millions and millions of dollars. So therefore, I think the byproduct with people, how they associate with NFTs is speculation. That is a speculative product. How do you feel? What are your views on speculation with NFTs and Web3 space? Or is there much more than just speculation? Maybe I'll throw that back to you, Charles.
The first NFT was minted in 2014, and at the time it was really not speculative. Later on, you probably remember the CryptoKitties, which started to bring some speculative aspect in the world of NFTs. I think when this ecosystem grows, it grows in cycles, and speculations is what people get before their eyes and catch attention. But it also brings a lot of more content, a lot of quality contributors to the space. So yes, there is speculation. It's becoming an economy, and within an economy, there is people which are coming to flip things around. But within this period of fast growth, there is also some very strong and healthy fundamentals which are being built. So yes, some people buy NFTs to resell them very quickly. Some others will pick NFTs very, very cautiously and keep them because it makes more sense for them in the long term. Some artists are deciding to give the choice to their audience to keep the original painting on paper or get the digital version, for example, like Damien Hirst, which worked with ConsenSys some months ago. So there is a big wave of new users, and some of them are speculative. But I would say do your own research. Take the time to understand the tooling of this new internet. And don't come for speculation. I think there is much more to explore. And if you happen to be early on a good piece of art, just enjoy this time, but don't make it an habit.
Yeah, Charles, I was really hoping that given the equity market situation at the moment, you're going to give me some tips. But maybe I'll need to do a little bit more research. Hanjin, do you have any views on this space? People taking kind of a speculative approach to this technology?
Well, I'll take a layman's approach then. When I was talking about NFTs day in and out on social media and to not just my audience but to other audiences as they invite me to talk, as I create my projects, nobody was really listening. And for those who were listening, not many were acting. My fans from the real world, not many today have wallets. And MetaMask is one of the easiest wallets to use. I'm not asking anyone to write protocols. I mean, I'm starting to use Infura for API functionality, but that's not something that we want to that is for everybody. But it's tough. Adoption rates are low, and people only pay attention when you show them the money, and people only see the money when it hits a headline, and people only start thinking maybe I should act when FOMO hits them, meaning the fear of missing out. It's like, oh, it's worth so much. Should I jump in as well? I must jump in right now. And these are parts of a cycle of any industry or product or space that is growing quickly. And it's the J-curve effect. When something moves upwards very quickly, it's going to pump, and then it's going to dump, and then it's going to grow, and then it's going to repeat. And what we're seeing right now is what most people call a bubble, but it's it's probably like the top part of some quick pump in this huge J curve cycle. And for people who are, what I want to say to the guys who are like thinking, oh, FOMO, I want to get in, maybe I should get in right now, and then like and the guys who say like, oh, this is just a scary speculative scam type thing. Think of it this way: if something is not inviting scammers, it probably is not very popular. I don't know if that makes sense.
Very true. Well, no, thank you for that insight. And I think we'll transition the conversation into another kind of hot topic, right? Which is the metaverse, so-called metaverse at the moment. What are your views on the metaverse, this kind of virtual world, and will NFTs continue to proliferate in this environment? Maybe I'll send that to you, Hanjin.
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, given the uproar about the metaverse and these virtual spaces, do you see NFTs continuing to proliferate in this environment?
Yes, I do. NFTs would have had a much more smooth growth and maybe perhaps even more comfortable, gradual type of growth if Facebook hadn't changed their name. What Facebook changing their name made people feel in a great big way was the FOMO that this is going to be a big and fast change, and if I don't jump on, I'm going to lose out. And also what it did was that it created this huge pump, this J-curve type pump in the real metaverse space, the blockchain metaverse space, which is ruled by 4 incumbents: Sandbox, Decentraland, Somnium Space, Crypto Voxels, maybe even Red Fox, and some new entrants in the VR angle, like maybe High Street Market. These projects have been around for a long time, and they have been building for a long time. And all of a sudden, it's this huge spurt, huge growth, and this makes for unhealthiness in that some people will buy in very high and get burnt. But it also makes for healthiness in the sense that it will reach a lot more people in terms of awareness, so that in time, when time comes for the next spurt, more people are more willing to jump on earlier, and so less people get hurt, and more people stay in. And it's a timeless quality to growth markets.
Right. Charles, maybe a slightly different kind of approach to the metaverse. From your angle, from ConsenSys like viewpoint, what do you see is going to kind of transform in the metaverse space in the short and then long term?
What we see is a lot of what we call Web2 companies. So the existing digital society, the existing social media companies, e-commerce companies, which are growing and flourishing online, looking at essentially migrating to Web3. So some of them wants to get a presence in the metaverse in these 3D environments. Some of them wants to enable their users with NFTs or with stablecoin payments. Even the central banks are looking at blockchain. For the Hong Kong dollar here with the HKMA. So there is some kind of convergence of the world societies from many different fronts using this new generation of internet, which is powered by blockchain. So what we see is essentially a migration. Some of these Web2 players will make it to Web3 and will strive with their brand into a renewed kind of experience with their users. Some other will not be able to make it and will stay a little bit in the past. But what is for sure, and if you look at your own personal life and what kind of electronic experience you had over the years from your early days to today. We probably started with video games, which were very basic and black and white screens, and then we got really 4K high quality video games on TVs, and then the video games became AR with these glasses we wear. So there is an evolution which we are all impatient to go through, but it's definitely a migration from the old infrastructure to the new infrastructure. And some topics, some communities are the front runners, but eventually everyone will go there. So the same way some people were saying 10 years ago, e-commerce will never work, no one will put his credit card online to buy anything. Eventually today we spend a big part of our spendings via some online purchases and mobile phone apps. So all of this takes time because not everyone reacts the same way, but the direction of travel is very clear. And just follow the trailblazers like Hanjin and many others to discover the new digital societies waiting for us.
Great. And you know what? Our session today is too short to cover this topic. I think there's so much more I wanted to dive into. So some of the challenges the space has, whether it's more on how it's designed or maybe some of the ESG implications of the space, et cetera, et cetera. But we are short on time. And maybe I'll ask kind of one last question, and then we'll go to a rapid fire situation. To our audience that are interested in NFTs or the Web3 space, how should they begin their research journey, and how can they get involved? I'll start off with Charles first, and then to Hanjin.
I would say go on your favorite search engine and go on NFT marketplace. You're going to find some services over there. Take your time. Don't rush on things too fast. Do your own research. If you have to buy something of very small value to make sure you get the full cycle. Download MetaMask. It's a free software. It's available on Android, on iPhones and anything. And start your journey slowly. Don't rush in. But there will be plenty for you to discover. There is plenty of content available. And if you are more than 40 years old, like I am, just catch up with your kids, because I'm sure your kids already are familiar with this kind of new assets.
Hanjin, thoughts?
It's the same thing, really. Get a login for your MetaMask. Go onto the platforms that you're familiar with, or at least someone has used it. Make YouTube your friend. There are a lot of people there who are willing to be your friends and share their experiences with you. You can pause it, you can repeat it, and let them guide you through the process of doing what you want to learn to do or what you want to learn to buy. And then, and if you're a creator, there are also similar processes that you can go through with YouTube help or with on Twitch if you like, and just do it. Keep your expenditure low, in a sense that you wouldn't for that amount of money that you're spending, you wouldn't think twice. It would be like taking a taxi to you, or like going for a holiday. Nothing too much, so that you understand the process without stress. Stress is a big inhibitor to learning things well. And it also creates a lot of bad feelings. But what I want to say is this: I guess after listening to Charles, it excites me to change the way I think. I no longer want to be the guy who, like, when there were horses and some guy came with a motor car, I don't want to be like, yeah, motor cars are a scam. Horses are so much more reliable. I want to be the motor car guy. When the mobile phone came around and it was heavier than a brick, I want to be the mobile phone guy. I don't want to be like, no, landlines rule. Pagers are much better. I want to change the way I think. Why? Because I think if I want to help people in a meaningful way, I have to adopt change. Change is the one thing that is constant in this world. And if I can embrace change, I can create good things for people that they cannot never imagine before. And I realize right now that I can't do it on my own. I need help. I need to find friends to help me, and teams to work with to create more meaningful change. And I can't keep doing tiny little projects and that don't attract eyeballs, that don't increase awareness. So I'm really happy to be here and meeting new friends, and hopefully do some more virtual concerts, blockchain related co-ownership programs. Yeah, I don't know. The list goes on. And to the audience today, I want to say, be brave. Take one less holiday this year and just give this a go. It's blockchain is here to stay. I guarantee you, in 5 to 6 years, blockchain is the new Web2, and try it. It'll be good for you. It'll be good for your kids. If not for yourself, learn it for your kids.
Thank you so much, Hanjin. Okay, so this brings our panel to almost an end. We have a little bit of a fun set of questions for everyone. So I'll ask rapid fire questions, be really, really concise. We'll maybe go with Charles first and Hanjin in each of these questions. So really quickly, your favorite color?
Blue.
Black.
Favorite dish?
Cheese.
Char siu fan, pork rice.
Favorite artist?
Hanjin.
Charles.
Your favorite musician?
Hanjin.
I want to say Charles. I'm not sure. I'll say Prince.
Awesome. And lastly, your favorite mantra?
Keep building.
I want to say I don't know, so just do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, that brings our session to an end. And I hope you've enjoyed our conversation, audience, with Hanjin and Charles. Now, stay tuned for the next edition of K11 Konversations and follow us on social media at K11 MUSEA. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.